Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Anthony Brinkley here. I want to first say thank you to Leslie, Andre, and the rest of the team that thought about doing something like this. I think this is a really significant thing. Again, I'm Anthony Brinkley of On the Brink Consulting, and today we're going to talk about something that I think is very important to all of us as we live, as we delve into what happens in life, and it's grief. But before I get started, I wanted to do something because I think we are all going through some things, and I know we know that last night Chadwick Boseman, he died, and he's done some significant things in our country. He stood for some great things. He's contributed significantly to our culture. But beyond Chadwick, I want us to all just take a brief moment and honor those with a moment of silence of those that we've lost during this period of time. And then we'll get started. Thank you. I appreciate that. So today, as we start with this backdrop of grief, it's something that I want you all to be able to do. If I handed you all a shovel, I want you to imagine that what you need to get to is under the ground, and you have to use that shovel to unearth it. But before I get into that, let me do something real quick. For those of you who may not have done this, let's look at the chat. If you click on, I want everyone to make sure that they're in the chat where they can actually connect, where people can, everyone can see what they're saying. On my screen, there's a block that says more. And if you click on that more block, there's a thing that comes up that says chat. And actually, there's already one in there from Leslie, welcoming everyone. So if you look at the bottom of that, there's a to block. Well, the to will actually let you know who you can connect with. So if you want to send something to an individual, you can go private by doing that. But for the purpose of what we're doing now, I would ask everyone to make sure that theirs is clicked on all panelists. That way we can connect. Actually, all panelists and attendees. Let's do that. All panelists and attendees. And what I want you all to do is, once you've done that, I want you to fire out a note just to let us know where you're from, who you are, and actually where do you reside right now. That way we know the chat box is working well. But as you're doing that, I'm going to keep going. So today we're here and we're talking about grief. And what is grief? Well, I'm just going to break it down to you real quick, and then we're going to move on to how can we make grief, how can we extract the good that's in the grieving that we're going through. All right, I already see somebody from Riverside. That's what I'm talking about. So now what I want you all to think about is grief is associated with loss or perceived loss. And so if you think about this period that we're going through, it's actually a protracted period of loss. We've lost, in many instances, family members. A friend of mine, as a matter of fact, today, they're actually burying his daughter. A week ago, he dropped his daughter off to college. And we were talking about how excited he was for what was going to happen for him and his family. And like 3 days later, she died. And I sat there and he and I talked. He's like, I'm having trouble understanding this. I'm having trouble, making sense of what's going on. So I'm saying that to you all to say that many of us have lost family members or friends. Many of us have lost the ability to generate revenue the way that we did before. Many of us have lost the ability to get out and move about with freedom of movement. Many of us have lost even some of our peace of mind. But in the midst of that loss, there are things that we can extract. Again, I see we got all kinds of people from Virginia, Phoenix, Arizona. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Belgrade, Florida. Okay, so let's look at this from a standpoint of how did we get here? And some of you heard me speak. Some things I remind people of. And what happens is, in life, we all get tested. We all get tested in life, but what really gets us in life is not the scheduled test, it's the pop quiz. Our whole country got hit with a pop quiz. Our families got hit with a pop quiz. we all had other plans around from the first of the year to now that I guarantee were totally different than what we're doing now. And for me, I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe what was going on. Even my mother, she's like, son, I don't feel comfortable being around people because she doesn't get out. So I haven't seen my mother since like January. And so I'm saying that to say that a pop quiz, what it does is it does a couple things. One thing it does, it tests how prepared you are for the test itself. And you got to remember, when you go to class, the first day of class, your teacher gives you a syllabus about what's required reading. But many of us look at that syllabus like it's recommended reading. And then one day you come to class and they say, we're going to put the books down and do a pop quiz. Well, that's how our lives are. What are the things that we know that we were supposed to be focusing on? And maybe we lost a little focus and then everything changed. Well, if you were doing everything the right way or dug in or locked in and had a good focus on your life, then this pop quiz may not have shocked you so much. But for many of us, it's been one of the most dynamic things we've ever dealt with. I'm going to ask you all some questions here in a moment, so be ready to get fired up in the chat box in a second. So how have things changed? Well, you can see the picture right there where we were just used to connecting with people, touching people, and engaging people. We're not designed to be distanced for long periods of time. Yet it happened. And yet when it happened, for some of us, or probably everybody on this call, everybody on this line, you lost somebody that you were planning on seeing, and you never saw them again because you couldn't go to the ceremony or you couldn't honor them because of what was going on. And so the last time you saw them was the last time you saw them. So I want to ask you all to do something for me. And I'm not trying to get real personal, but I want some of you to type in some of the things that you lost. I already told you I lost family members. I lost the ability to go out and work and do certain things. For a little while, I think I was getting close to losing my mind because I was just waking up. I didn't know what day was which. My eating habits got bad. I started to gain weight. Didn't want to, it was a whole bunch of stuff. So write down something that you know that basically you had to adjust. Family, friends, business, that's real. That's real. Motivation, that's real. We're going to talk about that. But remember, this shovel, you get to decide. So, and sometimes it's just good to get stuff out because our minds, if we keep it in, it just churns on the inside. But when you get stuff out, it has the whole world to dissipate it. Lost first birthday of grandson and lost going to friend's funeral. Yeah, that's real. So as we go through this, let's look at what this new normal looks like for us. Can you hear me now? Just doing this for many of you is a major accomplishment because if you were like me, technology, I didn't know what Zoom was 6 months ago. And I wasn't trying to find out because I'm very nervous when it comes. I'm not real comfortable. I'm a lot more comfortable now, but I wasn't real comfortable with the technology. I'm old school. I got to put my hands on you, shake your hand or hug you or get in your face. Yeah, loss of business opportunities. So the new normal required us to get agile. And some of you respectfully still need to get more agile, just like me. Because if we can't connect and we're in the middle of this circle, we have to find a way to reach out beyond our comfort. What does true touch look like? And I'm starting to find out that, true touch isn't so much a physical touch. It's something that you can feel on the inside. You can't see it, but you know it's real. The reason that Leslie and Andre and the rest of the team wanted me to talk to you about this was because they care about you and they're trying to find ways that we can connect more. You all are part of a unique fraternity, a unique subset of our culture. And so sometimes you're the only one that can relate to someone like you, whether it's your family, your friends, you all have shared experiences. And the third bullet up there is, do I need to be educated? Look, you looking at a guy who had to get educated in some of this stuff. And I'm going to challenge you not to be fearful of getting out your comfort zone and getting educated, because that piece of knowledge that you may gain will make you more agile in reaching someone. Look at that. Look what Derek put. Entire life change, staying home, lost teammates, family and friends to COVID, the fear of being killed by the police for nothing. That's real. I can feel that. I've been doing focus groups in this country dealing with some of these issues going on with race. And it's been raw in the room. But what happens is if we don't allow ourselves to feel stuff, we're never going to get to the solution base. So what I want to suggest to you is, how do we deal with this new normal? Is the last bullet up there says, how do you build a bridge? You build the bridge, and I like Derek's point about the last part about the fear. The only way we're going to get past some of this stuff that we're dealing with is by building a bridge. A bridge is a conveyance. It's the access for a conveyance to get you from one place to another. But here's the thing about the bridge. The platform of the bridge has to be empathy. If you're not empathetic, when you get to the other side, which represents that person or their perspective, you're never going to be able to reach them. Because empathy is about trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, or try to understand why they see things the way they see things. But before you can be empathetic, you have to allow yourself to feel what you are feeling. So I'm saying that to you to say, I guarantee you, I'm about to hit all y'all's house, because this happened in my house. When you're not empathetic, you make your life about yourself and your feelings and your frustration and everything that you feel like you've lost. And so what happens is when you're not empathetic, you become less patient with people. You become highly agitated. You become amplified in your ability to want to lash out. So I'm saying that to you to say, be empathetic to other people, but start by giving yourself grace. We give a lot of other people grace, but why am I feeling bad? Why do I feel like I don't want to do anything? You feel like you don't want to do anything because that's natural, because you're grieving. Grief is associated with loss. Grief is associated with losing something. So one of the first things you do when you grieve is to allow yourself to feel that grief. There is nothing wrong with your feelings. The right or wrong is what you do with your feelings. So if we don't do stuff like this, that's why I'm trying to get through this, and I'm pushing you all to communicate. I see my brother Charles out there. And I'm saying that for you to say, I want y'all to communicate with it. If you see somebody say they're going through something, I've been doing workshops like this, and somebody saw somebody say something, and they went into a private chat and said, hey, when we're done, let's talk about it together. This is what this is all about. Because if not, the downside of social distancing will kick in. I live by myself. So and I'm an introvert, but let me say something to y'all. Even as an introvert, I need connection. So if I don't get connection, after a while, I start to feel down. I start to feel lethargic. Some of y'all are like, where's my energy? Why don't I feel like I have the motivation to do stuff? It's because the energy that you use to connect with people, you're not getting refreshed. So now there's feelings of isolation. Do you realize the alcohol consumption in this country has gone through the roof? It's exponentially increased because that's what some of us do. We habituate to bad things. And this is from a guy who used to be an alcoholic. So when I didn't want to deal with stuff, I would take a drink. And I'm saying that to you to say, when group dynamics are challenged, which means I'm used to getting feedback or engagement this way, and I'm not getting it. Now, things can be miscommunicated, because even like with texting and things like that, you can't get context fully. So some of y'all need to talk to somebody. Some of y'all need to teach the same to other people in your life how to use Zoom. So y'all can do Zoom accounts or FaceTime or whatever, other medium that works for you. And your schedules have changed. So for some of y'all doing this, I hope y'all got something to write with, because I'm going to challenge you to write some stuff down for yourself. And one of the first things I'm going to tell you is you have to have a schedule. If you don't have a schedule through all of this stuff, you're going to waste a lot of days. Some of your schedule could be, I'm going to get up at this time. I'm going to make my bed. I'm gonna exercise. Even if it's in my house, I'm gonna go for a walk. You give yourself stuff to do. And then now you can measure the things that you're doing. And now you're being engaged and you're being energized, but you have to have a schedule. And because if we're not careful, the people we care about the most, we can damage that. But that's not gonna happen. because we're all getting something collectively. So let me press on because I got to get you somewhere. If you get a puzzle and you drop that puzzle and it just all of the pieces fall, that's how our life is. When you get the box, you see what it's supposed to look like when you see the box. But when you open it up, they're all disjointed and they all look like they would never go together. But all of us, for example, I don't care how many people are on this call. You're all contributing to this and you're providing something. We're all God's children. I'm reading what Derek said. He didn't make no mistakes. We all have purpose. Man, you teaching this thing. Teach one, reach one, asking my white friends to speak up. That this is wrong and how we're being treated. He putting his feelings out there. And all he's saying is be a part of what we're doing. But I'm saying this to you about the puzzle. The puzzle says it all looks like it doesn't connect. But if that piece sits there, it becomes isolated, it becomes useless. It has no purpose. But it has to go into that big panoramic that we're putting together, that tapestry, if you will. I'm challenging some of y'all. Some of y'all are upset or frustrated with people because you haven't heard from them, but they might be grieving or they might be sad. So if you miss somebody, let them know you miss them. And even if you're the one that's always reaching out, you always feel better when you talk to that person. Strength is cultivated through connection. I'm challenging you to connect. You all are like this power strip. The people that's in your life, the people that's connected to you, some of you are feeling bad because you think you letting people down because you're not producing in the way you think you should produce. That's how I felt. And my brother said, Anthony, do you realize if you never do anything else for our family, we would not love you any less? But I put this pressure on myself to take care of these people. And so that power strip, so I have my children plugged into me, my family plugged into me, my community plugged into me. But everybody on this. Matter of fact, the thing I didn't have until I got recentered, and Derek started his statement off of that, was myself through my faith. I want everybody to type in the chat one thing that you do that makes you feel plugged into yourself. It could be exercise. It could be a habit. It could be going for it. You know what it is. But the point I'm saying to you is all of those things is plugged into that strip. It represents you because you wouldn't be on this call if you weren't the kind of person that helps other people. That's why you have to keep filling your cup because your cup keeps pouring into other people. So before you help anybody else, I need you to make sure that you're plugged into yourself because here's how this works. And it may seem unfair, but it's not unfair. This might seem unfair. They come and they take from me, they drain me, I'm always bailing them. But the reason they're coming to you is because they see something in you. And so the dynamic y'all have is that you help them. Not that they're taking advantage of. That's the relationship y'all have. So don't look to them for them to give you something that only you can give yourself or the people that's really in your life. They're going to keep coming. And I don't want you all to become a victim of your compassion, a victim of your heart. So as you wrote these things down, my challenge is, as you all said, I didn't tell you, you all said those things are important to you. So what I want you all to do is this for me. On your daily schedule of what you do, you need to write down that thing, some kind of way, get that journal. A friend of mine told me this, Erica. She said, Anthony, every day, write down in your journal 3 things that you're grateful for. And he said, but you got one more thing you got to do after that. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and then write down 1 thing you did for somebody. And it's like you could have prayed for them. You could have put a card in the mail for them. You could have sent them a text. You could have brought them a meal to their house and left it at the door. And that way so I'm saying to you, I'm challenging you all to make sure that you encourage yourself. Now we about to go Blue Magic. Andre Collins probably know about this because he got that goatee now. He looked like he could be in Blue Magic, that old group. But they had a song called Life is a 3-Ring Circus. And the thing about, they talk about this, a carousel. And if you think about what we're going through, what a carousel does, it goes around and it goes around. But as it goes around and around, it goes up and it goes down. When you are grieving for prolonged periods of time and you get out of your routine, whether it's cutting grass, like Charles said, or whether it's riding, like Tony said, or whether it's exercise, when you get out of your routine, those lows become lower and they stay lower. And maybe I'll take that pill, or maybe I'll take that drink, or maybe I'll just feel sorry for myself. And I'm not saying that in a judgmental way. I'm saying that's how it works. So with the carousel, you got to make sure you limit how low the lows go. And how do you come out the lows? For some of you, it's going to be your faith. For some of you, when you write down the 3 things that you feel good about, or something that you did for somebody else. I was coming home yesterday. I drove from DC. I was in DC 2 days ago. I've actually driven 2,000 miles in the last 5 days. I've been working, doing different things. And when I was traveling, I stopped at this place. It was like a gas station, and I could tell maybe the lady wasn't having the best day. And I looked at her and I said, "How are you?" She said, "I'm doing okay." And I told her, I said, so I reached in my pocket and I said, "I'm gonna give you something." I said, "When you go eat next time," I said, "I want you to eat on me." And I said this way. I said, "Look, this little money ain't gonna change your life monetarily, but it's gonna let you know that the good Lord knows your address. And I saw something in you that said you special." So I'm saying that to you all to say, when you're going through those lows, find somebody to reach, and find somebody and let somebody. Some of you, your pride, you don't want anybody to know that you got a case of life going on. But do you realize that the worst thing you could tell somebody, they're going to love you the same? So now here's your other assignment. You're going to have to do this assignment when you finish. When you all finish today, I want you to write a list of everything you lost. My cousin died. I lost my job. I can't move around. I have a physical thing going on. I couldn't get my medication. You write everything down you lost. Then you write everything down you still have. I see y'all clowning each other. I see Derek clowning Andre. I see Charles clowning people. And so you write down everything you still have. You got electricity because you watching this. You probably got air conditioning. And I know, like 3 days ago, I was calling my friend in Lake Charles, Louisiana, hoping he was going to pick up the phone, because that's where the hurricane came through. He said, "Brink, man," he said, "my house got messed up and this happened, but me and my family's still here and we fighting and we in this." And I said, "Bro, I don't have much, but whatever I got, you got it." So I'm saying that to you all to say, that's your assignment. This is not me. I'm asking you to write down, because once you write it down, you get it out. You get to acknowledge it. You get to publicly, emotionally grieve it. And then you say, "I still have this. I still have that. I still got people that care about you." Look at it. I'm looking at what Tyree says. A lot of people not to reach out to others because they assume all is good. The most successful people in business have issues. Gratitude. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Tyree. And I'm saying that to y'all to say, he's right. Many times the people who are the most successful are the ones that's best at acting like stuff is cool. But as you see this slide, no more sweeping stuff under the rug. We can't do that. Because when you sweep it under the rug, you know it's there. But everybody else is tripping over what you hiding. It could be your attitude. It could be your sadness. It could be your frustration. It could be that drink you sneaking. Whatever it is, no, we don't hide. The benefits of facing things is you get clarity. And that's what this is about. So so y'all got the assignment. So what happens? Now I'm talking mainly to men on this one, but this applies to women too. But men, we got this equation in our head. When stuff gets hard, we think distance equals safety. If I get away from it, if I act like it's not going on, it don't. No, that's wrong. You've been taught wrong. I've been taught wrong. Distance doesn't equal safety. Distance equals confusion and miscommunication. And distance equals distance. So I'm challenging you all to get out your comfort zone and let somebody know. And if you're doing well, you reach out to somebody else and make them feel comfortable enough to tell you. Because when we start to allow distance to equal safety, then we start to develop bad habits. I told you about one of mine. I used to drink a lot of times. I would make poor choices. Matter of fact, me hiding my stuff led to me getting a DUI. So I went to jail because I was trying to hide something. But guess what? I can't do that anymore. Won't do that anymore. But the beauty of it is when I stopped sweeping stuff under the rug, now my test became a testimony. So I couldn't teach this or talk to y'all. We couldn't converse together if we couldn't take what we learned from. So push through the pain. Love confronts. When you love something, you confront it. That's why Andre and Leslie and the rest of the team said, nah, we want them to know we grieving too. So let's collectively talk about that. Are y'all with me? If you with me, just let me know. Say something to me. So now let's get to the point about this. We almost done because I want to give them time. Andre or the team, they want to open up, have people say something because I'm trying to get y'all. We're gonna get there. So why do we get this way? I'm glad y'all asked. The reason that we got this way is that no one really taught us about feelings. Feelings are some of the most misunderstood things in the world. And and I'm gonna tell y'all something. Do not trust your feelings. Your feelings will betray you almost exclusively. Now, what I mean by that is all feelings are, this is gonna help one of y'all. All feelings are pieces of information, but they're incomplete pieces of information. So it's like something happens and you get amplified and you react to a feeling. No, you can't react to a feeling. You got to examine that feeling to make sure that I need to walk. Because if you don't examine that feeling, now it gets a root in you. And now a hurt feeling turns to bitterness long term. Are y'all with me? I'm trying to tell you something that feelings will get you. Nobody cares. And the feelings will grab that bottle. Nobody cares. I'm going to go do this. No, feelings are incomplete pieces of information. So when you get the feelings are real. They're real, but they're incomplete until you process them. Does this feeling, because feelings are going to tell you you need to do something about the feeling. And so the feeling's real, but the thing that it may cause you to want to do, unpack it. Does this mean I'm supposed to do, or maybe I should just take a step back and say, yeah, they cut me off in traffic, but why am I so mad that I want to go run up on somebody? No. So I'm saying that to say they're incomplete piece of information. They're real. And then you say, what am I feeling? I'm feeling frustrated. Okay. What do you do when you're frustrated? Maybe go do some push-ups. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe take a breath. Do not respond to your feelings until you acknowledge it. The response is appropriate with the feelings. Feel like I'm preaching, but I ain't preaching. I'm just talking to y'all. So for some of y'all, this is going to get you out of trouble. When you first feel something, take a breath. That's why I keep telling you to write down what you lost. See, when you don't acknowledge it, it just eats at you. You ain't putting it on display. Because if you're not careful, all you see is what you lost. But when you write down the other list of what you still have, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I still got purpose. I still have stuff. I told you, my friend of mine, we talked yesterday, how we gonna get better. I talked to my friend yesterday. He said, man, if you would have told me a week ago I was going to be burying my daughter, I would have said, no way. And he said, I'm going through stuff. And then I'll tell you another story about me personally. So I used to promote comedy shows. I was a promoter and I would have comedians travel the country and I take care of all that stuff, but I ended up doing something else later. So one of my best friends, his name was Tyler Craig. He lived in Atlanta, Georgia. He was one of my comedians. He was supposed to have a show like 3 weeks ago. A night before the show, he died. And I had just talked to him and everything was great. And I'm saying this to you to say this. So when Tyler's father stood up, just like my buddy I'm talking about who lost his daughter, Tyler's father said something. He said, I woke up this morning, I had 2 sons and now I have 1. He said, I wrote it down that I had 2 sons and I had 1. He said, but something in my spirit said, no. He said, now I'm not trying to preach you, I'm trying to tell you what he said. He said, no, I heard somebody talk to me, but it wasn't my voice. And that voice says, you got the math wrong. He says, you went to bed with 2 sons and you say you have 1, you still have 2. 1 walks with you and 1 walks with me. See, when you're going through something and you don't take a tally, and so even my friend, he said, my daughter's gone. And he said, I asked myself, if I could bring her back, would I bring her back in this cold world when I know she served her purpose? And he said, no. He had tears in his eyes. He said, I gotta let her go. He said, but I don't just let her go. I'm letting her go, keeping the attributes that she put inside of me as my daughter training me. And I'm saying that to you all to say how we get better is, we already talked about this. You got to take a mental, you got to take an inventory. You got to be able to look at what's going on. Look, all crises, all they do is reveal how committed you are to what you say. I'm about to change my presentation real quick. I'm going to tell you something. We talk a lot about values. I value my family. I value my faith. I value my output in the community. I value taking care of myself. But yet, does your life correspond with your values? See, do you realize you can undervalue your values? You say you value health, but you eat junk all the time. So although you value health, you value comfort more than health. You say you value your family, but while you're going through this situation, you isolated yourself from your family, and you don't have to live with somebody to have family. So I need you to examine, are you valuing your values? Are you undervaluing your values? Dr. King broke it down. He talked about the fierce urgency of now, that tomorrow is today. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there's such a thing as being too late. I don't want you to be too late for loving the person you're supposed to love. I don't want you to shorten your life because you have poor habits or poor eating choices or you're not disciplined. Because if you realize, if you see fruit that's hanging on a tree, do you realize that the fruit does not belong to the tree? The fruit belongs to everything around the tree. That's why you have to bring to full term what's inside of you, irrespective of what you're challenged with. The fruit in you, it belongs to everyone around you. So if we allow despair and anxiety and those things to cut us off, others around us that was going to come around our tree will never benefit from our fruit. Yeah, I used to go to bed listening to the book of Job. Man, woo. You want to talk about somebody going through something. The other thing I want to leave you with is this. Control the controllable. You can control your attitude. You can control what you put in your body. You can, and I'm going to hit y'all with something else. So there was a study done. There was a study done about people, the time they spend on the internet. The average 17 to 25-year-old, they spend 3,000 hours a year on the internet. And the adults are about the same. But here's the significant part about that. Only about 15% of what our young adults look at is actually good for their soul. That's why some of y'all angry, because you're looking at the wrong stuff and you're poisoning your soul. And neglect, as it says up here, it starts out as an infection and develops into a disease. What's a disease? The lack of ease in your life. Some of y'all need to turn the news off. You can't change this country. You can change the part of the country you live in. You can affect change. But if you all twisted up on this, trust me, I'm frustrated about a lot of things. But I'm not going to let somebody hate me enough to make me be a person of hate. But if I keep feeding my body and my mind 3,000 hours and 85% of it is negative, I'm going to be an angry individual. And I'm going to be a rebel without a cause. Some of y'all need to mind yourself. Guard your eye gates. Guard your ear gates. Because those things lead to your heart. Check yourself like I'm checking myself. And when you do that, you will have peace in your life. Peace is the thing that keeps you anchored. But know this. An anchor is you only know an anchor works when it's in a storm. That's why some people got shook. They got shook when this pandemic hit. They got shook when madness happened because they were anchored in the wrong things. They had a weak anchor. They had an anchor that was compromised. And I'm saying that to you to say, look at your anchor. Do you realize that great sailors don't develop their skills on their maritime skills in good weather? They develop their skills in stormy weather. I'm writing a book right now called Lessons Learned Through the Storm. I think all of us can write that same book. What lessons are you learning? What lessons are you learning? You can't go through this again. This ain't the last pop quiz we're gonna have. We don't know what the next storm gonna look like. But if you got a good anchor, some of y'all said I meditate in the morning. Some of y'all said I do exercise. Some of y'all said that's my family. If you got a good anchor, when the storm comes, you know what storms do too? They blow away stuff. They blow away stuff that wasn't supposed to be there. So some of that stuff, it ain't gonna last. So I'm telling y'all that to say, stick to what you know that makes you you. Check your values. Are you really being true to your values? And one of the last things we're gonna talk about is how do we get through this? We get through this by loving. L, you first listen to yourself. You listen to that small, you got to quiet your mind. You got to get all the noise out from around you. You listen to yourself to make sure that, you know, you right where you're supposed to be. Man, y'all throwing some serious comments up here. Wow, this is what I'm talking about. But as it relates to each other, you listen to the people around you. When you talk to somebody, I need you to make them your priority. I need you to squint with your eyes. I need you to have tunnel vision. So when you see that something you said might have offended or it caught them the wrong way, you know your words can build up even when you correcting people. You squint with your ears. You get the distractions out the way. You don't let that 90% of crap that people are putting in, trying to get you to focus on, get in the way of you listening to somebody else. Then, you observe them. You watch what makes them who they are. You watch what makes them feel good. You watch what they struggle with. And by observation, they're going to tell you what they need. They're going to tell you what they need. And then V, you let them know they have immense value. I can tell you this, Andre, Leslie, the rest of the team, they love you. I love y'all too. I miss y'all. That's why we got to figure out how to get together. But I'm telling you like this. You tell them, man, I know you going through some stuff. And I'll tell you a quick story. So I did this presentation a year ago, about 2 years ago in Texas for the Air Force. And I was telling the story about stuff I was going through and I was hurt. And I talked about how I was depressed and I got in my car and I didn't care if I lived or died that day. And my life changed. I heard this voice and there was no one in the car but me. So I said, well, something's going on. And I told the story about how I quit drinking. And so fast forward, I go to Alaska like 8 months later to do some work. The place I was presenting to in Texas, it was a very, very large room. So I couldn't really see everybody. I was on this big stage. So when I went to Alaska, this guy said, hey, Chief, man, you didn't see me but I was in the room a year ago when you was in Texas. He said, my wife had been trying to get me to quit drinking for 10 years. After I heard you speak, I quit drinking. And he said, I haven't had a drink since. And I'm not trying to tell you that to say I'm great. I'm trying to tell you that to say when somebody can relate to you or you have that little piece collectively, when you listen to people and you observe them and you let them know that they have value, more value than what they're about to put in their body. So Americans make up 5% of the world population. Americans consume 85% of world psychotropic drugs. Y'all have heard me say this before. The Oxycontin, the hydrocodone. I'm not saying that if you're going through something that you shouldn't take a pill if it's with other corresponding levels of treatment. But I am saying to you, it's hard for me to believe that 5% of the world population own 85% of the world pain. We got to get to a place where we confront things and that we let them know they have value. And how do we change the world? We listen, we observe, we value them, and then we let them know, I'm empowering you. That's your E. I'm empowering you to go love somebody else that feel like they're going to give up on themselves, that feel like that nobody cares about them. And some of us got to spend some time, because when this world opens up again, the lessons, somebody need to hear this. There's some lessons you're supposed to get in this wilderness that we all that's been imposed on us by whatever. If you don't get the lessons in this wilderness while you separated, when you get back to normal, you're not going to get the lesson and you're going to go to another wilderness. Don't fight the lesson. Don't fight the curriculum that's getting you to be a better person in your life. I don't want to go through this again. I ain't even talking about a pandemic. I'm saying I need to learn how to live with myself or live with my people, live whatever, be better. So when something else happens, I got a stronger network. Don't go through this again. Others will. So here's one of my last slides. The key to developing is focus. I told y'all some stuff to do today. Write down what you lost. Write down what you still have. Write a schedule of what you're going to do every day. Now I'm gonna give y'all something, because some of y'all gonna blow this. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But I'm gonna give you a reason why if you blow it, don't feel bad. Your best, some of y'all need to write this down. Your best will never look the same. Your best will never, I want you sitting there, I want everybody to say, my best will never look the same. And I'm gonna tell you why. When you're having a tough time and you're going up and down the carousel, your best will never look the same. Here's what I'm saying. When you get in your car, you turn the gas, you turn the key, you see you got 78 miles of gas left in your car. The best you can do that day is 78 miles worth of stuff. That's it. You can only do 7, so your best is gonna be like, well, I wasn't feeling that good today. I was tired. I was frustrated. But this is what I got in my tank. So I'm gonna read, I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna do. That's your best. It's 78 miles that day, metaphorically. You wake up another day, you got 450 miles in your tank. You're feeling charged up. Your best that day will be 458 miles. So when you have a day that's not that good because it don't measure up to yesterday, it's all about your best that you could do that day. And then when you do that, you'll be like, okay, each day you will actually do your best based on what you have in your tank. So how do we put all this together? I need you to take everything you got today. See, you're leaders in your house, in your relationship. And the reason I'm telling you, I'm calling you leaders is because you're sitting on this call today. So you want to do better. So now you got a higher responsibility to pass something on to somebody else. Great leaders are perpetual students. That's why Leslie and Andre and the rest of the squad, they keep doing stuff like this because we can't live long enough to figure out everything on our own. So collectively, we do this together. So you got to be a perpetual student. If you're getting frustrated, pick up something to read. If you don't feel like reading, put something in the background that feeds your spirit, that hit you with the right frequencies. And then the other thing about great teachers are this, leaders are, you got to be the most understanding person in the room. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason you got to be the most understanding person in the room as a teacher and a leader is you got the answer to the test. So if you're trying to teach somebody something, a principle, or help them through something, and you're getting frustrated, it's because maybe you're not the best teacher. You can be a good teacher, but you got to be understanding. Why aren't you getting this? Well, you got the lesson. So if they're not getting it, you got to be more understanding. And then with understanding comes patience. And my definition of patience is to endure hardship without complaining. When they get hard and you start complaining, you ain't being patient. So you're a perpetual student, you're understanding, and you got patience. And if you got to correct somebody, 2 ways you should never correct them. Do not correct them when you're frustrated. Do not correct them when you're tired. Because all you're going to do is start coaching. You're going to start reffing. We don't need refs. We need coaches. And lastly, be persistent. Whatever you say is important, your values, the things on your list you still got that you can continue to cultivate, you need to be persistent on, like a dog on a bone. Perspective is everything. Man, it's storming. It's terrible. Is it? Or is it, am I getting refreshed? I'm isolated. Are you? Or do you have a chance to maybe talk to your creator or talk to other people or talk to yourself? But this is hard. But do you have people that's with you that you can connect with, or are you choosing not to? In the midst of a pandemic, your organization said, we love you. You ain't even gotta love them. They love you. This whole presentation is just to say they love you and they want more of you of yourself to live the best life. That's why we started this thing by a moment of silence of grieving, because they have transitioned, but we're still here. How do you think and who you around is who you become? Yep, you're right, Tyree. So I'm saying that to you all to say perspective is everything. Some of y'all got to get outside, let vitamin D hit you in the face when the sun come out. Some of you need to take a walk, whatever it is. All right. And lastly, in the midst of hard times, some of the most creative things have ever happened. Inventions, cultivating new concepts. You need to come out his best. Look, I don't want y'all. Now, I could have been, if I let this camera go down, y'all be like, man, what's going on, Brink? I was going the wrong way. Like I was going to be a contestant on my 500-pound life, my 600-pound life, because I've been eating so much. And I'm telling y'all that to say, use this time to cultivate the things that's creative. You can't read what this says. It says there are many things in life that will catch your eye, but only few things that catch your heart. Pursue them. The reason that people are going through this stuff about Chadwick Boseman is because he lived his life. In his early 40s, he dies. For 4 years, he didn't allow cancer that was just ravaging his body stop him from living his purpose. What's stopping you from living your purpose? That's all I'm saying to you. What's stopping me from living my purpose? I'm saying that to you to say that there's dreams. When I die and you die, we should die with a dream on our heart, a new dream. And the dream has nothing to do with you. Remember, the fruit of the tree doesn't belong to the tree. It belongs to everything around the tree. I tried to say I wanted to get y'all out of here early because I want to toss it back to Andre or Leslie or whoever, or if they want to open up, because we were supposed to go till 3, and it's like 2:43. I mean 3:45. Supposed to go to 4. I'm saying that to say, matter of fact, I want everybody to do this. Everybody type in the block something you walking away with from this, something you're going to incorporate, or something you've been reminded of. Because what you don't track, you don't do. And if we need to do more of this and do stuff better, it ain't got to be Anthony Brinkley, but they're here to work with you guys. You know, they're here for 30 years to work with y'all. So I need y'all to help them continue to get better. Y'all own this. This is your thing. So write down what you're going to do better. I see this. I hope there's more speeches on YouTube. I'm on the right path. Okay, good. If you're on the right path, help the rest of us. That's what I love. I need people on the right path for me. So Andre or Leslie, whichever one of y'all, I'm going to say this. I'm going to toss it back to y'all. I love you. I need y'all. Y'all are part of my tribe. I'm giving you everything I got. I ain't trying to make you feel good. I'm telling you what the truth is. See, I learned that joy, you can't always be happy because something goes wrong, but you can have joy. Joy is a blessed assurance that if you live life the right way, come what may, you're going to be all right. So with that being said, I guess I'll toss it to you, Andre, and whatever you got for the room. Oh, he said I can close out? Okay, let's just, okay, Andre, you go ahead.
I'm here, though. Thanks, Chief. I just wanted to say thanks, and thanks to everybody that logged on and made comments. This, again, was always so outstanding. You're always so thoughtful about what needs to be said. You know us players and our significant others so well that you always hit a home run with us. I saw that some people were in the chat room and some of their comments only went to the panelists. But if you need help, you can always call us at 800-372-2000, the Professional Athletes Foundation, or you can go through the phone tree at the NFLPA and hit the button that says, I need to speak to someone now. Generally, that will come to either my cell phone or Tyrone Allen's cell phone. So we're always here to help. We've been, like Chief said, it's 30 years of serving former players, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So with that said, I'm going to close my window. I'm going to let Chief say his goodbyes and let everyone get ready for the next session. Thank you.
So here's the bottom line. I think, your organization could have chosen anybody to come speak. So I don't take this lightly, what's going on. I don't take this lightly, this opportunity. And if I miss something, charge it to my head and not my heart. I love you guys, and ain't nothing you can do about it. So let today be the day that this is a new reference point. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, and then write down something you did for somebody else. We are everything. You've heard me say this before if you heard me speak. What we're going through is bigger than you, and it's bigger than me, but it's not bigger than you and me. May God bless you. May God keep you. And let's go get after this thing, because when this is over, we're going to be much better. Do not let this time go to waste. Peace and blessings to you.